Jack in the Box, the debut album from J-Hope. Jung Ho Suk, most well known as J-Hope, is a rapper, dancer, singer, songwriter, and member of the superstar K-pop group BTS. This year marks as his second solo effort, coinciding with his 2018 mixtape Hope World, and the first solo album from anybody in BTS so far. I have many thoughts going into this album. I mean, considering the path BTS as a group went down, going on a bit of a hiatus after the release of their anthology album, we'd eventually start seeing more solo projects from the members, and a lot has changed since that 2018 mixtape, and so did J-Hope. As much as Hope World offers 8 tracks with bright-sounding dance cuts, 2 hard-hitting rap bangers showing off his versatility, Jack in the Box actually takes a very hard left turn from all of that, opting for more primarily old-school hip-hop, R&B, and even kind of grunge, attempting to make a cohesive effort while still displaying his versatility, straying away from his brighter image in the past. The album opens up with an intro that leads into the first track, Pandora's Box. Great opener to this album. But then the lead single, More, comes in after, and my feelings have improved since its first release. I didn't much care for the track like that, as my main problem was the muffled shouting vocals on the hook that I thought sounded pretty sloppy at the time. But I definitely warmed up to it once listening to it in the context of the album, which it helps. As a clanking rap rock song that kinda reminds me a little bit of 90s nu metal, Stop rages through injustice and pure dread with a thumping beat and interesting sample choices. Equal Sign, the shortest song on the album, serves as a bouncy dance cut, not in a daydream kind of way though. Also has J-Hope showing some serious vocal chops, delivering a message of equality that doesn't really flesh out far enough, which is, of course, being the shortest song on the album, that's mostly why. But that's just one in a few nitpicks I have for this album. And it's the project's main problem, overall. It's too short, because he's going for these more high thought out lyrical concepts, but he can't really fully go farther and expand upon these ideas if these songs are barely crossing the 2-minute mark. But that's just my biggest gripe already out the way as we move into the album's centerpiece with its ominous 1-minute interlude that continues the Jack in the Box theme, with a kind of eerie music box melody and heavy breathing. But then the heavy What If samples Old Dirty Bastard Shimmy Shimmy Ya with a sharp piano bouncing off the dark percussion, as J-Hope delves into the contrast between his puppet persona and himself, Jung Ho Suk, sorta acting like a conversation with himself.
What if I am the whole? What if I am no dream?
Which then, while the beat ramps up the intensity in the chorus, he then wonders what his self-worth would be like without the hope, without the passion, before moving on to more tangible things, which are treated as kind of an afterthought. The album slows down a bit with soulful R&B cut Safety Zone, which shows J-Hope's real knack for a good slow jam. A place to be himself for once in his spiral into exhaustion and loneliness, which is kind of getting harder and harder to find as an idol. Not surprising. Not my favorite, probably my least favorite personally, but it's okay. But the uncredited R&B vocals do complement the song perfectly though. The album heads into the ending point with Future, which is probably the most Hope World sounding track on this whole thing. Its cheerful sample-driven beat with a children's choir draws back to some early college-era Kanye West. It brings back the slight bit of optimism after all the despair in the middle section of the album for a moment. But then Arson brings us back into the darkness at the last second, as the last song on the album and the second single, which is a bunch of hard-hitting tight flows and a very murky beat, in a similar vein as More, which is an excellent banger to end things off. Overall, this album is kind of a bit more than meets the eye. It brings back the ambition and inner depth that's been lacking for me with BTS's later stuff. A couple of inconsistencies lyrically and sonically, and the songs being too short was a hump to get over. But I enjoyed this album, and I applaud J-Hope's will to tap into more unspoken territory for him, and BTS and all. Personally, one of my favorite releases this year. Not just in K-pop, or K-hip-hop, but overall, and hope to see more stuff like this pop up from the other members in the future.